Hello, I am Zach Dresch, and you are listening to the Dresch. Welcome, everyone. It's episode 10. Woot! It's a milestone. Woo! Every episode is a milestone for me because we made it to 10.
We're live.
We're live, and we're live streaming on Facebook, and audio will be released.
Oh shit, that's us right there.
Yeah, you can watch it.
There's like a
from
little
here.
delay.
You're live on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, etc., etc.
Pretty much everything but MySpace.
Sorry, I dropped the ball on that.
Damn it!
What's going on?
No.
This isn't really legit.
We need 15.
We record those shows on Tuesdays. So
All right. Yeah, red tube and next hand.
I didn't stretch, so.
Sheldon will get you stretched.
Don't stretch out. You're already bleeding too.
Yeah. Yep.
Before we get into the topics, I want to go around and introduce everyone on the couch here. Phil Muller, how are you, good sir? Musician extraordinaire.
Yeah.
We're all extraordinaires here every episode, so I'd like to point that out. So, how are you, Phil?
I'm great. Yourself?
Doing fantastic. Thank you. Musician extraordinaire from March and Arms, Sheldon Swan. How are you, good sir?
Good, are you?
Doing extraordinary.
Oh, awesome.
I sound like a cult leader. It's just like, how are you today? March and Arms, musician extraordinaire, Ryan Knutson. How are you, Ryan?
Doing good, man.
Great. Good to hear. Good to hear. I don't know. And mastermind behind Burlap Wolf King, Thomas Hentges. How are you, Thomas?
It's great to be alive.
Extraordinaire.
Yeah.
So how this show works is I have all these topics in a bucket or jar, or jucket, which is not a derogatory term, but it may soon be, I don't know. Basically, we take topics out, and I read the topic, and we decide if we want to talk about it or not. And that means it either passes or fails the Dresch code. So
Okay.
that's what that means. So
Sure, those aren't just packets of like Parmesan or something?
no,
I checked.
they'd all be cheesy questions.
That's all this is.
Oh.
It's an hour of him just like randomly spilling packets on everyone.
That'd be like an Eric Andre kind of thing, just really weird, like.
And then on Tuesdays we do special stuff.
Yeah. So shall we get started with our topics?
Yeah.
Let's
All right.
dive in.
Let's dive in. Most of our music and movie, comedy-related music, primarily, but yeah. First one. Whatever happened to Laserdisc? What the hell even is a Laserdisc? Pass or fail?
Pass means you want to talk about it. Fail means let's not talk about it.
Oh, that's a fail.
Fail?
Yeah.
Fail.
Yeah, that's
Fail
kind
it.
of boring.
Yeah.
Put it through the
We
show.
might have still been too young.
Yeah.
When that, and then it didn't last long, I don't think. So.
Yeah, that was a very tight.
Shelf life was short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The librarian was real excited about it, though.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Yeah. Ooh, we have true grit.
Yeah.
Which Grammy category needs to be eliminated? Which needs to be added? I'll talk about that. Pass?
Sure.
Pass.
Pass? Okay.
I really watched the Grammys.
Yeah, there's so many categories,
like-
like in tiny weird categories that you don't even think about.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what I would get rid of if there was one, like, best, I don't know.
Best new artist, because usually when they put it, it's like they suck and they fail.
Then their
It's like
career
the
is
curse.
over after that.
Yeah. No more best new artist, because what the hell does that even mean anyway? You know?
Yeah.
Oftentimes it's somebody who's been doing it for
Yeah.
25 years or some shit. So
A lot of the times, like, the new artists already had 5 albums under their belt, and then their career kind of ended right after that.
That or somebody who's like a flash in the pan, like they just kind of got big really quick, and then they win it for some reason because they had a huge hit that year. And then
Milli
they're gone.
Vanilli.
Yeah.
yep. Replace it with like best pan flute album.
Yeah. And then Jethro Tull every year. Every year. I think added would be kind of, I would go like really random, but like post-hardcore album of the year. Get really weird about it. Just like have a whole section that was ska album of the year.
Best album that sold under like 50,000 units.
I like that.
If
Yeah.
they opened up all the subgenres of metal They'd
That
be
would be-
like, "There's this many. Why? What is
Especially
this?
like
What are we
new
doing?"
metal would be awesome.
Yeah.
That needs
Best
to be
new
there
metal.
for sure.
The one band that stuck it out is still winning each year. Like,
And the winner, once again, 5 Finger Death.
There's got to be a best comedy Grammy, right? The
Yeah,
comedy
so,
album.
yeah.
Is there a best live
Yes.
like stand-up special?
I think there
Doesn't
is
comedy get lumped in with spoken word?
a lot of the times.
I think
Yeah.
it's comedy, and I think they have stand up and like comedy album. Like
If the intention is comedy, then they'll rope it in together. Like I think Weird Al and George Carlin have been in the same category, so I think that kind of counts if it's intentionally meant to be comedy. Like then they'll throw it in, but I know Patton Oswalt's won a bunch of times and a bunch of other comedians like that. But
he's white, he's safe.
yeah,
Yeah, it's all good.
I'm trying to think what other category they should add that would be entertaining. Like best didgeridoo solo in a song. Should be like 2 artists.
You know what they should start doing, because these reaction videos are so hot now. Best reaction video reaction
Yeah.
to a song.
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's sad how we've gotten to the point of social media on YouTube where we're just watching people watch other things.
Yeah.
It's so meta.
That's what my kids were doing when I left the house.
Yeah.
That's all kids do
That's
now.
'cause
It's
we're-
fucked up. My
Well-
nephews were over, and it's like, that's all they want to do is watch other people play Minecraft. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
It's pretty weird.
pretty much.
Want to be a YouTube star.
Just ran out of. There's no good music anymore, so we just want to relive what it was like to listen to something we liked the first time. So
Yeah.
I think that's what is appealing about it.
Let's watch Milky Way 74. Watch Lionel Richie's music video "Dancing on the Ceiling."
Yes.
Like that's all we're like. Why is he on the ceiling? Because that's what the fucking song's about. Like,
Conceptual.
yeah. It's like I was curious, like a couple of these, like when Childish Gambino released "This Is America," that music video, and there was like 5 million reaction videos. 2 guys were like, watch it, like, I fucks with this, I fucks with this. I'm like, what?
That's a good reaction video.
I feel like it's like they don't socialize as much. They're just like everyone is in their own little apartments and homes and stuff like that. So watching that kind of video makes it feel like you're sitting there with friends watching it. I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is weird.
yeah. So yeah, that'd be a good
Who
category.
needs friends?
Yeah, we could go into a really long, like 5-hour, like deep conversation about that very thought.
Let's. No.
Next topic.
Yeah, what's
Yep.
the next topic?
All right.
Another parm pack.
Farm pack. Dogs or cats?
Oh fuck.
Pass or fail?
I'm a dog person myself. Sheldon's a huge. You're a huge cat person.
I have
Tell her what
cats.
Sheldon's
Five
crazy about
cats.
pussy.
Cats.
Yeah.
I like all animals.
I
so
see
I've
what you
had,
did there.
I've
Yes.
had dogs
Oh,
and
yeah.
cats.
And there's no way
That's
you
not
have 5 cats anymore. There's like probably more of them in your floor place or
No.
something.
No, I don't. Phil has both.
My family. I grew up with dogs. I like dogs. They're like, they care about you a little more. Cats suck because they could care about. They're just like in your house and they just
Well,
make your house
they're just
smell
too
like shit.
small to eat you, so they're just
Yeah.
hanging out.
Well, they'll scratch your and shit out if you let them.
They're
But-
waiting to eat you when you like die
There
or
is something-
lose consciousness or fall in a like position that you can't get up from or something like that. They're just like, yeah, that's some good meat there.
I just feel like they don't have the best like moral compass of like an animal. Like they just seem
No.
like they're up to something and you don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna destroy this guy's
They're a
house
killing machine.
slowly.
They're like a shark.
They are, but they also like to just slowly destroy your house. Like my house smells like cat piss. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I have one.
Don't let your one bad experience ruin it for everyone else.
No, everyone that has cats smells like I hate to break it, but everything smells like cat piss if it's been around cats. And cat people are like, no, I clean and blah blah blah. It's like, no, we can smell still.
Yeah.
It's cat piss.
I think it's the male cats
Yeah.
are the problem, right?
Well, I think men are just stinkier in general, maybe.
Yeah,
Because they're really obsessed with just like marking their.
yeah, because
All
even
your
a tomcat at my
baseboards.
dad's shop, it just likes to piss all over his boat, and it's just like such a pain in the ass to clean it out of the boat. Sorry, very oddly specific reference.
My family's always been more of cat people, but
You named a studio after it.
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
That's valid.
Yeah.
That is valid. But also, my dad got an Italian Greyhound like 4 years ago,
Oh, really?
and so it's like a cat, but it's a little
It's
more.
very lithe and
Yeah, yeah. Looks like a mosquito.
agile.
Yeah. It's like a little mosquito begging for attention, essentially. But no. Yeah, cats for me bias. But next question.
Next one.
Which famous musician or comic that passed away recently hit you harder than expected? Pass or fail? Talk about that. I'd talk about it at
It's
least.
pretty fresh
Pass.
topic.
Yeah.
Pass.
Past that.
Tom Petty. That one.
Well, absolutely, just because it. I mean, there's some. How the fuck is Keith Richards still alive?
Yeah, that
I
one.
can't believe
Yeah,
that.
I can't
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
Or Ozzy.
Or there's so many people, it just doesn't make any goddamn sense. But
Yeah.
yeah,
For me, I'm a '90s kid, so when Scott Weiland died, that hit me a little harder than say Bowie or Prince. But I felt like the odd man out when everyone else is like, "Damn it, it's not right." And then when they said, "Who's Scott Weiland?" I'm like, oh.
well, all of them had plenty life. You know, all of them have plenty of life to live left. But,
Yeah.
you know, that's what's sad.
Dolores O'Riordan.
Oh yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Or Reardon.
yeah, I never even pronounce.
There's so many pronunciations of that, but yeah, that was untimely and
Yeah,
Every
I don't
time
know.
we
There's
That's
been
a
a
lot
lot
for me
lately.
too. Yeah.
every
that's-
time we
never
every
hit
time
me.
we decided to try to do a cover, they would kick the bucket. Just about.
Well, that's a favor then, doesn't it?
We also got Roseanne canceled.
Nice work.
Fuller House is just on razor's edge.
Now it's coming back. Yeah.
that was a fantastic video. We'll say that.
Oh yeah.
That's this crazy guy over here.
Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's-
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
Or Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell hit me
Yeah.
pretty hard too.
Joan Rivers, I was actually really upset when she passed.
Oh,
When was that?
like
It was like
3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
ago,
it was a
I think.
while ago, but
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know, she was just so funny.
yeah,
She was very old. It was
Yeah.
only a matter of time, but
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher, that's another one.
yeah. When Robin Williams
Yep.
died, that
Yes.
definitely struck a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
people for sure. 'Cause that one was kind of like made depression and that stuff out in the open more without the stigma. Even though it's still there, it's more out in the open. So it's like,
Mhm.
say that one was a big one.
Iron Maiden wrote a song about that.
Is that on Book of Souls?
Must be.
Yeah,
it's on
next
the
to
newest
the
one,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. My bandmates saw them. I've never seen them live. I need to.
Yeah, we saw them last year.
Is that with Ghost?
Yes.
That
and
must have been cool.
they are so old. Dude, Bruce Dickinson is an animal.
Yeah.
Like, he was doing like these flying side kicks across the monitors and stuff. It was freaking crazy. He doesn't look old at all. And then, like, one guitar player, even though Nico's the oldest, the
Yeah.
drummer, this guy looks very, he's kind of on the edge.
Yeah.
But he does this thing where he lifts his leg up and puts it on top of his half stack. And he's just like sitting there the whole time with like this. It's just like, I don't know why you would think to do that, but the fact that he can do that was surprising.
Yeah.
And that was my big takeaway from the show. That was all I really paid attention to.
He still does it.
Old bastards still have it.
I should have had a question like which ones are surprised are still alive. That should have been a question.
What's your
like,
yeah,
Keith Richards, straight up.
yeah, definitely.
Next one. With a bunch of old TV shows making a resurgence, which one that hasn't been brought back would you bring back?
Pass?
Pass. I'll talk
Pass,
about it.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, pass.
The State from MTV.
Oh, that's a good show.
I'd watch that.
They all still work together,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it'd be a logical thing to
Yeah.
actually have happen. If we're doing another season of Mr. Show, that would be awesome.
Me and my wife just finished The Wire last night. 10 years later.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I'd be about that.
It's
I'd
the
be about
fifth
that.
season is like you could tell that shit was gonna fall apart. Like the way they did that, it's just sad.
Yeah.
But mainly, Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought it
mainly
back.
that one for one season.
Yeah, then it just kind of.
And it was a good season.
Yeah.
Bring it back with videos.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
with videos.
With, I'd be
Videos
fine.
from the 90s still.
Yeah,
Just keep
yeah,
watching
exactly.
those.
Yeah.
Just the
It's
90s
got to
videos.
stay. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's got to stay period appropriate.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
But it would be funny to see them do kind of reacting to like rappers like now like SoundCloud rappers and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
well-
That'd be hilarious.
I'm pretty sure they just think it all sucks.
Yeah.
Chappelle Show would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Do that.
I was kind of in the it'd be a little weird though because Chappelle's voice is weirdly lower now because he
It's not
was
as
started lifting
anymore.
weights and now he's buff and it's just like it's weird hearing him talk now. It's like like I'm just like I'm used to the
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
instead of the I'm being serious like instead of,
I suppose it's the fact that you can chain off 2 packs in a set too.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
That's the most cigarettes I've ever seen smoked in an hour.
Did you see
When
it?
did you see him?
When you came here.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
When was
Just
that?
constant.
Did you go to the first show or the second show?
I think it was the first one.
Yeah,
I
because the
can't
first
remember.
show he was pounding those cigarettes
Yeah,
and then
it
had
was
like
nuts. I think it's like obviously he's like a nervous guy, which is
Yeah.
weird, but
If you did you watch the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Chappelle? He seemed oddly nervous during his hangout with Seinfeld. Like that's a little weird. Like I don't know.
I'm trying to remember that one. I've seen them all. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I mean, the Louis one always sticks out in my head when he gets a boat stuck in the.
yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
Seinfeld does this thing like when someone says something funny, he'll like hunker over and like fake laugh a little bit. Like so then I said, "Hey wife, give it a rest."
He does that on yeah. But he's not really.
He's gonna make a noise.
Yeah.
It's just the
Yeah.
It's just an hour.
yeah. And then Fallon's thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, "Hey, give me the money."
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we covered that one. Or do we have any other shows we thought of that would be kind of cool? Trying to think. King of the Hill. I'd love to see King of the Hill come back.
Didn't really watch that one.
I loved it.
Futurama.
Futurama,
I mean,
yeah.
it's such a beaten dead horse, but I'd still watch more of it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that'd be it for me. And I'd want Simpsons to end.
But there aren't really any. Well, maybe it's just because I don't watch it, but I mean, growing up, network TV, there were really funny shows like Seinfeld and Friends. And,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, there was like that block of comedies. I don't think there's really anything even near that caliber anymore.
No.
Like, not even close.
As far as those like likable sitcom kind
Yeah.
of things, it's mainly like
It's the golden age of TV right now, but it's a totally different kind of TV. It's not.
there's no live audience.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it's not like some wholesome sitcom where they were, afraid to talk about shit. Like I was just finishing up watching The Wonder Years the other day, and
Wow, that's a
couldn't
good show.
figure out. Yeah, it was like my favorite, and I couldn't figure out why the hell. I never noticed, but he never completes his senior year, and turns out there's like a sexual harassment suit against Fred Savage and the guy who played Wayne from one of the costume designers or something like that had been going on. So it pretty much put an end to the series.
Oh.
Plus, they also said that they were like approaching topics that they felt that they needed to talk about on the show, mainly sex and stuff that they
Yeah.
clearly hadn't talked about, but they were worried about alienating the audience because of the wholesomeness of the first few seasons, So,
Oh, sure.
so it is weird, like.
And now we've got Game of Thrones, where it's just like, how much incest murder in this episode?
Yeah, it's very different.
Game of
Nobody gives a
porn,
shit
yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Well, now it's almost gone too far the other direction, because, like, writers get lazy and they're just like, we'll just put in some fucking real violent thing and these
Yeah.
dumbasses will like it, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, it's so over the top, like, you don't even have to be creative anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. Just,
Although Game of Thrones is very well done.
Game
I
of
was gonna
Thrones is
say,
very
I
creative.
have no
but
complaints
a
about Game of
But
Thrones.
they're
Other
not
than
like
the
here.
fact
Like,
that it's gonna end soon.
Yeah.
if there's any Sons of Anarchy fans watching this, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that show sucked balls, dude. At the end, it was
Started out good and then it just got really
Yes,
bad.
it did suck at the end.
Walking Dead.
I like
Walking Dead was really good. I think Walking Dead blows now. It's just too much. It's just like come
season
on.
1 was so good, and then
Yeah.
season 2, the one where they basically live on Herschel's farm, is fucking garbage. And then they kind of come back in 3 a little.
They lost me in 2
And
and
then-
never came back.
Yeah,
Weeds was
and
the
then
same one.
Phil
yeah,
still
it never
walking.
really
Weeds
came
was
back.
just
Still
like
walking.
every season was like, are
Felt
you
my soul.
fucking
They don't take the time to develop characters enough that you care enough, or even just because you're watching, you're like, well, I know they're gonna kill that person off. Why should I even give 2 shits about this person? So
People tell me that Fear the Walking Dead is like basically like every season is basically season 1 of Walking Dead,
It's-
but I
yeah.
haven't given it a chance yet. So
Any shows you feel have the perfect shelf life and knew when to end it properly.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking
Yeah.
Bad totally was
I
like
still
a
haven't seen any
cohesive
Breaking
thought.
Bad
I want.
by
I,
Dexter.
I think a lot of it too is like
went a
you know
little long,
they.
but I thought, I mean, it was pretty. It was
I think
tight.
they have the fear of him. You know, there's always that lingering. Or am I gonna get renewed or canceled? And then you gotta like figure out how to wrap it up or
Yeah.
whatever.
yeah.
Like Lost. Like they
That's how
didn't
it
with
is.
Lost. They didn't
Yeah.
really try to go too far with it, right? I mean, that show ended at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Just
I
kidding.
never watched Lost.
yeah,
That was freaking terrible too. First 2 seasons of that show, pretty good.
Yeah.
Then it's like, you know, you gotta just decide you're gonna end the show.
I love shows that are canceled at the end of every year, but they still come back, and yet they ended it anyways the previous season. But they're like, how can we continue this shit?
Oh, you know what show I'd love to see come back? Married with Children.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
would
Yeah.
be great. That would work.
And all I remember of
Yeah.
that show is I shouldn't be watching this, and I'm gonna get in trouble if my parents
Yeah,
catch
they'll
me.
get Anthrax to come back on
Yeah.
one episode.
That's
Yeah.
totally, that was the thing too. Like I was totally told you don't watch that show, and the next thing I know, it was like a family thing when it was in syndication. Like all of a sudden, my
Yeah.
brothers and
Yeah,
my
my-
mom and I would watch it.
my
on the
brother and my
news,
dad
you know?
would be watching it,
Oh,
laughing
yeah.
about No Ma'am. And
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
no
that.
ma'am. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, I would love that.
That shit would be
The episode
funny.
where they think the car's stolen and it's just that they washed it for the first time in 10 years. It's like, oh, that's right. I had a red Dodge.
You know David Faustino would do it.
Oh yeah, he definitely would.
I wish Freaks and Geeks would have went slightly longer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
was
that
a
would
good
have
show.
definitely been good.
I don't think it'd work as a comeback, but if it would have been longer initially, it would have been
Yeah.
good.
Wonder if they'll pull if they reunite the whole cast, do like a 20 years later kind of thing, or
Yeah, like a high school reunion type.
yeah,
thing.
kind of thing. Yeah.
But so that would have been in like early 2000s.
Yeah. So like make jokes about the
Yeah.
fact that like, oh, iPods, what the like,
Y2K or something.
yeah, something like that. That'd be funny.
Why, dude?
Like,
I remember. I don't know why I just thought of this. Y2K. So remember, you know, Musician's Friend, they still put those catalogs out?
yeah.
You know, and like, the band on the cover of every Musician's Friend is just like the dorkiest, like, Rings of Dad, like, you know, there's no way these people would be in a band.
Yeah.
And it's all this, like, nerdy stuff on the cover, and I remember I got this one. This one fucking catalog. You could get customized guitar picks. And the sample they showed was this guitar pick with the band name Y3K on it. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
Y3K.
Was this like 99, 2000?
Probably,
Probably,
yeah.
yeah.
They were really playing on that Y2K hype.
Can imagine them hanging out like, what are we gonna call this?
Y3K.
Y3K.
And I think it had like an alien face or something on it. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, that band on that cover, they would be called Y3K.
Y3K. Yeah, that's the name of the episode. Y3K.
Yeah.
I think we covered shows. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Rank the members of the Beatles in your own personal opinion.
Oh Christ! All
Fail or pass
Fail.
that one?
I mean, good either way.
I'll talk.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll talk
Let's
about
do
it.
it.
Yeah.
All right.
Should I
mean-
start in my corner?
Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead. In your corner.
From 1 to 4.
1 to 4.
McCartney, Harrison, Lennon, and Ringo.
Ringo's
So-
gonna get shafted this.
I mean, it's bullshit. Because the funny thing is that
You're like a Lennon guy, right?
no, McCartney's the musical genius of the
Yeah.
fucking band.
I try to
He's
do
like-
your order and make
He's
it.
like the most loved and hated,
Harrison
I
and
think,
Leonard,
in the people
because
that
they're
are in
interchangeable
the
in that
Lennon
way.
Oh,
camp.
sure.
But Lennon is a fucking cultural phenomenon that's important more than any other member of the Beatles, by far. I mean, as much of an asshole as he could have been at times, and some of the asshole things he did, boy, he more than made up for it in humanitarian efforts. I'm you know, and I'm like, I'm a huge George Harrison fan.
Yeah.
But when people start like talking about how he was the best Beatle or he's this, I want to fucking punch him in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Like you're shut the fuck up.
I've always been a McCartney guy.
Like
so,
shut the
yeah.
fuck up. It's bullshit. Like yeah, it's like I get it. Like he was like the one that like he's kind of that dark horse guy. No
Yeah.
pun intended. But like fuck that. Like, I'm a huge Harrison fan, but I ain't trying to hear that shit about how he was the most talented or this or that. Shut the fuck up. You fucking. That's
How
like.
do you really feel about that?
It's just like
I don't know
it's
if
like
I've
the
ever heard
kid.
anyone say that.
It's like I hear it all.
Oh, I
the
hear it-
fucking
I hear it
time.
all the
I hear
time,
it all the
actually.
fucking time. It was
Yeah.
very popular, especially amongst women.
It's like, is he like the hip member to?
Yeah,
to
he's
be
like the hit
favorite
member
of?
to be
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
And
He's
it's like,
like- yeah,
everyone's like, oh, his first solo album's the best solo album. Well, that's debatable, and if it is, it's because he had all them fucking songs for years
Yeah.
that Paul and John weren't
So he's
writing.
like the fucking Phil of Burlap and Marching Arms.
Guys, don't give me a chance to write anything. Just wait. This shit's
Because I'm
it.
scared about what might happen.
I'm going platinum after this shit.
And I'm no Ringo hater,
Going
but it's
to
like,
platinum.
obviously Ringo's voice is
Oh, yeah.
good. I mean,
I mean, you can hate on the guy, but he knew his place.
yep, exactly.
He knew his
Great
place, and he
humor.
knew to sit there, yeah. And
I mean, they all offered. That's the thing, is like they were special because of the way they played off one another. And if there wasn't the Lennon McCartney, like, I mean, they pushed each other. And if they didn't have that, I mean,
We wouldn't have that.
we would. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how anybody could argue that there's any more significant, like, artist, at least in the rock or the popular music category, than the fucking Beatles. I mean, they changed the fucking world, and that sounds so cliche, but it's true.
No.
And a lot of the times, maybe they didn't change it. Like, they changed it early on, but they were so hip on everything as it was happening.
Yeah.
So, like, when shit was happening in San Francisco, they were picking up on that shit, too.
in such a tight window
You know,
of time, too.
such a tight window. And that's pre-internet and all this shit. So how you doing that shit from across the pond, Like, that's amazing to me. And they kind of, like, they took what everybody else was doing and just with more money and more things to expand on it, 1967 was the year of the album, and,
Yeah.
Sgt. Pepper came out that year. It's not my favorite Beatle record, but
Yeah.
it's arguably like one of the most important recordings of all time. So, yeah. No, I could talk Beatles for fucking ever.
What's your favorite? Abbey Road?
Revolver.
Revolver?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I got into Abbey Road first. That was my first thing, but Revolver's just like a quintessential perfect record. There's maybe one song that I don't care for all that much, Dr. Robert. It's just kind of whatever.
Just a filler, kind of, yeah.
And the album could do without it, and but I just think at the time, like, the Beach Boys were the only other band like making anything remotely close to that, like, sophistication in pop music.
I got into Wings before Beatles, so I'm biased towards McCartney. So, that's-
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how. I just kind of. There was one day, like 15 years ago, I was at FYE when that was still a thing.
Yep.
And I saw they were selling the Wingspan
Yeah, the McCartney
compilation.
collection.
Yeah, I saw it and I'm like,
yep.
oh, I'll check that out, because I had heard a few songs, loved it, and then I'm like, oh, this is great. And then,
I mean,
yeah.
McCartney wouldn't have been able to do all the things that he was able to do without George Martin. So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, if one of them is like more I think Lennon's drive, more than anything, and that chip on his shoulder from his childhood is probably what was the driving force behind the band and
Sure.
got them going.
Yeah.
I think it's like looking at like a really good like pasta sauce or something, and you like think of there's like a good tomato, but you also have to have like this awesome garlic, some.
Yeah.
And without the
Quality ingredients.
all the ingredients came together to make
It
this
is.
great thing.
It's like
and
a
like
spark in time. You know?
yeah,
I mean,
and
it's
like they
just
each
boom.
offset each other. However, like McCartney does his thing.
Yeah.
You know, the wings, that sound kind of can be cheesy at times, and I think Lennon kind of reined him in a little bit.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's
I
just
mean, that's
it,
actually
yeah.
kind of what they claim is. What,
Man, I could see that, you know.
Kinda
I mean,
ended
if you
it.
listen to the first, like, Lennon's solo album, it's, like, raw as hell. And at the time, like, nobody was making anything, records like that. Not to
but
mention
if you
somebody
ate
who's
garlic
crazy
straight
as
up,
shit.
you're like,
Yeah, exactly. It can be a little, like,
Yeah.
off-putting. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
After your third clove, you might
The
be
bitter
fine.
and
you know?
sweetness, you know.
Yeah.
The perfect meld.
Put it together and get.
You heard it here, folks. The Beatles and pasta are not that different.
Yeah. Pasta sauce.
Do you guys
Ringo's
have
the
opinions
noodle.
about that?
Boil them for 12 minutes. Throw them against the fridge. See what sticks.
There probably is Beatles-shaped pasta, like of each of their faces.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
At some point.
It's called a mop top noodle. Like-
Yeah. Mop tops and cheese.
Next question.
Sure.
Broad.
Don't be the Stones. Don't be the Stones.
Yeah.
Favorite live versions of songs that you think are better than the studio version? I'll talk about that.
Sure.
That's an intriguing
I'm
one.
trying to
Pass.
narrow something down.
Live versions that are better than the studio version.
Yep.
This is going to be a weird one because I'm not even like a huge fan of the band. They do create good songs, but their lead singer is one of the most annoying dicks of the 90s, if you ask me. But Counting Crows has, what's that song? Sullivan Street. There's a key change in the live version that just sells that bitch at the end. And it's not on the album version. I remember hearing that the first time. Holy shit, that was powerful, you know?
Charles Bradley, when he did, it was just him and a guitar doing changes on like
Nice.
YouTube
Yeah.
somewhere. That was a really great stripped down cover. He covered Changes by Sabbath. Such a brilliant cover, the studio version as it is, but then he did it just him and guitarist, and it was just like so stripped down and solid. I'm not a huge U2 guy, but the song Bad on the live Wide Awake in America EP is pretty solid. Even though Bono's a tool. Like,
No argument here.
I don't know if it's better or just as good or just has a different vibe as the MTV Unplugged of Alice in Chains is really enjoyable.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, dude,
sure.
nutshell.
Yeah.
On that, I'd prefer. Yeah, like Alice in Chains Unplugged, that's what got me into
Oh,
Alice in
yeah.
Chains. After hearing that band for years and years at every fucking
And what
party
the hell
I went
happened
to.
there? Those
in high
MTV
school.
Unplugged
Yeah.
albums are so freaking great.
they tried bringing it back, it just wasn't as effective, I don't think.
But I don't know
How
if
many
you
bands
noticed,
does
like,
MTV have on there that where the people actually play fucking instruments so that they could do that?
They,
Well,
did,
they-
they did Korn Unplugged with Amy Lee doing
I
Freak on a
remember
Leash.
Oh, yeah.
just looking at the
Dude,
evolution of like
Jesus.
like sound engineering equipment and all that, and like how it seems to almost get worse on TV and stuff. Like when you go to like a live performance on TV, it's like the sound quality on there is like not even close.
My dad just commented, Iron Maiden's Flight of Icarus
Flight of Icarus.
on live. Is it? I think it's Live After Death, that live album. I remember listening to it a lot.
were you in the band when I got that Best of Iron Maiden album?
No.
Are you sure? Are you
No, I'm
sure?
sure. I'm sure.
No, because we were still living at that house on,
You might have
on
still been
14th.
living there, but I wasn't.
And Fear of the Dark, the last song, it's in I think it's in like Santiago, Chile or something like that. That song, it has this melody, this and there's like 250,000 people all going whoa. And the joke I came up with in the van while we were listening to this was, what if they're all just standing in a giant skating rink and they're trying to stand up and they're just like it's like all these people not trying to slip. And pretty much any Maiden thing live when when they're in South America, you got the backing of
Yeah.
all those people, or like a lot of the European bands playing some massive outdoor fest, like especially power metal stuff, where
Yeah.
they go into the studio and try to track 50, 60 layers of vocals. Well, you can't Then you go see him live, and
Yeah.
it's actually 40,000 people singing along. Like the live version is always gonna,
Yeah.
it's always gonna hold its own to the studio version. you know,
Right.
So.
Danzig Mother Live '94.
Oh yeah, I like that.
That was a good one.
Have you seen Danzig Live Mother '99?
Oh no,
Oh, it's rough. He's wearing a mesh tank top.
Oh, of course he is.
Guitarist doesn't know what he's playing, and Danzig keeps like removing the mic from his mouth midway while he's singing "Mother." Mother.
That'd have been around the time that Brogan drove him to the tanning salon when he was in town. Said he was like 5 foot tall and like
Yeah,
went to the
sure.
tanning salon. Like that's where Brogan would. He had a job where he'd like take people like a airport taxi type thing at a hotel, and he'd take dancing to the fucking tanning salon.
Danzig tans?
Yeah.
Does he seem like he's like always really like he
I
traveled?
know, that's
like
what I
pale
thought
would?
too.
Yeah.
Maybe in the '90s he was
Yeah,
going through a phase.
maybe, man. Maybe he was like prepared for some kind of like, TV role or some stupid shit.
I will say, in regards to Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson has some of the best stage banter between songs.
Yes.
On Rock in Rio before Wrathchild, he goes, "Something old, something new, something from our Jurassic period."
Yeah.
Wrathchild. Like,
Yeah. Guns N' Roses, "Sweet Child of Mine," live version.
Oh, yeah.
I think it is, or not "Sweet Child of Mine." Which one is "Welcome to the Jungle"? No,
Live
fuck
and
no.
Let Die?
No, I'm trying to remember what the fuck song is. There's a
"Knocking on Heaven's Door"
Oh.
from Tokyo.
Paradise City. That's
Oh,
what it
Paradise
is.
City.
When when the whole band comes in, it sounds like fucking Immigrant Song or something. It's so heavy. Like,
Yeah.
that's a good one. And then Springsteen, "Spirit of the Night." Like when he did that, and there's a couple songs he did off of his first record. That was my
His
phone.
phone.
There's a couple songs off the first Springsteen record that are much better live than they are on studio recordings. "Lost in the Flood," that would be a perfect example. If you can look up the live version of "Lost in the Flood" from the '75 tour of England, like the Born to Run tour, that's some powerful shit.
No.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Anything in particular?
Nothing's coming into me.
It
Besides
seeps
the
in-
Alice in
seeps
Chains
in the
one.
brain.
Drum.
Oh yeah.
That's really noteworthy.
Next question.
All right.
Next question.
Next one, Toto's hash pipe cover is fantastic.
I haven't heard that
Oh,
yet.
I still gotta watch it
The
last
breakdown
night.
is so Toto. It's
Yeah, it's so great.
the like guitar solo thing. It's like
Because when Weezer did it, Rivers just did the vocal melody and then the guitar solo, but then Toto did this extended keyboard solo, and this so
it's
good.
as cheesy as you can get.
Yeah. Which talk show or entertainment show do you think had the best musical guests on it in the past?
The early Saturday Night Live episodes are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Conan always had really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pass. Talk about
Pass. Yeah,
Well,
talk about that.
I mean, if you watch the first few seasons, particularly of SNL, there's some amazing guests
Yeah.
on there. Like, I mean, the talent of talent, and at the time it wasn't necessarily like the pop.
Yeah, it was a mixed
artists,
bag.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you were getting more of the credible artists of the day. You know, that's some good stuff.
That probably would have been the only place to see them.
Yeah, some of them for sure.
a lot of
At least
people.
in a whole audience kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because Carson, I think, didn't really have musical guests
Not a whole
on.
lot, I
It was
don't-
more of comedians and that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, Conan was always good, I thought, but I mean,
Letterman used to have a lot of really solid
Yeah.
guests on. I remember Leno was mainly like the pop hit people of the day kind of thing.
dude's a douche, but like,
Yeah.
Carson Daly, he had the.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
When he had that late night show, I mean, that was a good opportunity for a lot of bands who never would have
Underground.
gotten
Yeah.
a chance to be. That was kind of cool to see, like a band that probably you didn't think you'd normally ever see on TV would be on TV. That was a cool.
Yeah.
He would get a lot of people on for the first time. But yeah, Conan's been real good, especially with when he did I don't know if he's still doing it, but the TNT run. gave him
Sure.
a lot, or whenever when he
Oh,
switched networks.
TBS.
TBS,
Yeah, he's
there
still on
we go.
TBS, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, when
yeah.
that's giving him more freedom too. I think to kind of bring on whoever.
Yeah, Tonight's Show, I think they watered down his guests for a little bit, and then he switched over, and then
Right.
was able to strip down and.
Seth Meyers has had like random people playing his house band. That
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
Like the drummer from
Danny
Hatebreed was on
Carey or
it. Playing
something.
drums
Yeah.
when I was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's mainly a Fred Armisen decision. Because
Okay.
Fred Armisen is
Yeah.
technically the band leader, and I think he chooses who fills his
Colbert
place.
had sweet shit too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever a Daily Show or Colbert would have musical
Yeah.
guests, which was really rare, it was
Rare,
still
but it was
awesome. Like
good.
Rush
Yeah.
was on Colbert once, and yeah, I think they had Green Day on, and probably Foo Fighters at one point, but it was pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's it, really.
I think we agreed that they all offered.
We didn't really say a best.
Shit.
We didn't say a worst.
Yeah.
We just started throwing things out.
Yeah, worst one to have.
The one that always stuck out to me was when Slipknot was on Conan. And
Oh, yeah.
That was like, that would never happen. Never thought that would happen.
What?
Yeah.
I remember Fear was on SNL.
Hey, Fear was on SNL early on, yeah, because Belushi was a fan.
Yeah. Belushi's like, I won't make a cameo on the show unless you have Fear as a musical guest. I think that's what happened. Like, then they trashed the studio.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
Was Sex Pistols ever on SNL?
No, they were supposed to.
They're pretty much done by then.
And then I think they booked Elvis Costello instead, and then he got banned.
Yeah, and whenever they book something in that ilk, they seem to. The
wasn't it
replacements
that-
aren't welcome back either.
Yeah.
The only televised recording of Queen in the States was on SNL too.
Really?
Yeah. And
And
that was
that-
their
and that-
their last show in the States.
Yeah,
after
and that
too.
was and that day, Freddie Mercury got in a huge argument with one of the band members, and like screaming argument, lost his voice, and he spent all day trying to get his voice back, and then it came back like right before the performance.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he kind of low-keyed the vocals a little bit. You could tell while I was watching that performance recently, he kind of like low-keyed, didn't overdo it as much.
Yeah. Well, it was just crazy little thing called love, right?
And then they did Under Pressure too,
Okay.
but it was just him. So like,
Right.
David Bowie wasn't there, but
Yeah.
obviously. But I think if it was, it'd be more noteworthy. But
Right.
The band was there right before the last waltz. Like they talk about on their performance there that they'll be performing at Winterland. Their last performances to be recorded like that. That was right before that, so it was
no.
the end of one of my favorite bands there.
Remember when concert films were more of a thing too? Like,
Yep.
Song remains the same, that kind of thing.
Yep.
No.
Thanks, YouTube.
Yeah.
But kind of thanks, YouTube. It's pretty awesome to be able to just look anything up.
I was first in line for Justin Bieber's Never Say Never. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, next topic. I didn't see that. Least favorite artist that you love that you've seen live.
So,
So-
like, they were to let down.
It's artists that you like that let you down when you saw them live. I think that's what that means. So you're disappointed, but you were a fan of them, but then you were disappointed by their live performance.
Pass. It seems like we got wheels
Pass.
turning.
Yeah. This one's in the think tank.
Yep.
Trying to think of Jack White for me. I saw him recently, and he had just a whiff of pretension, and just kind of felt like he'd rather be somewhere else,
Okay.
kind of thing.
He doesn't sing
Where
anymore
was
so
that
much
at?
as he raps.
Oh,
too.
Omaha, back in April, and it was cool to see his performance though, because he doesn't have a set list. He doesn't make a set list. He just goes by what he's feeling like playing right at the moment. So he'll like whisper to the band member where it's most essential, like we're gonna play this song,
Right.
and then they'll transition like that, which is cool.
Yeah.
But the song choices he made were ones that he's like, I'm in Omaha and I don't care. So here's crappy songs that aren't that great.
In that same vein, like I wouldn't say I really liked the guy, but Marilyn Manson when he played here was like
6 years ago, something like
it
that.
was the fair or whatever, yeah.
Oh, sure.
And then there was like a fake bomb threat thing went on.
Wasn't that Crowfest or some shit?
Yeah,
Was it Crowfet? Yeah,
Oh,
well, it was
yeah.
at the fairgrounds. I remember
It was
that, and he
Crowfest,
was
I
just hammered, and it was terrible.
Not
Like,
surprising.
but I never really cared for him. I just wanted to see it.
Yeah.
I think I must have got free tickets or
I
something.
think
Loud mouth.
I think of Oh,
Modest
no.
Mouse.
Really?
I thought you said
fucking
Smash Mouth.
Sucks live.
Well, I don't like Modest Mouse to begin with.
Like, I like some of their earlier stuff.
He was
Their
hammered
music.
too, or on something.
I've
or
seen
on-
them 3 or 4 fucking times, and they are shit every fucking time.
Yeah, we had
Just
someone else
garbage.
here on an interview that actually like interacted with him backstage or something like that.
Oh,
so
really?
they were just like drunk out of their minds. Or
Oh, I'm sure he
something like
was.
that. I just
Which was funny because the time he came and was like cutting himself on stage, it was like the first show of the tour.
2005 or
And he had
something
just
like
done a bunch of press about how he was sober now. And all
Yeah, I
that shit.
remember
Like,
that.
oh yeah, that's what sober people fucking do.
yeah.
They go up on stage and start cutting themselves with fucking razors.
Funny is,
Douchebag.
I got into Modest Mouse shortly after that. I had missed that show. My friends were at that show, and they came back 2 years later, and he was sober, didn't do anything
Yeah.
wrong. And that
Yeah.
was I went to that show, and he was solid then.
Yeah.
And then they came back last year, and that was a really dull show. He looked really bored and just kind of.
I just think their music doesn't translate at all, like live either.
And the encore was all new songs that no one cared about, kind of like the songs that weren't that great. Just
Yeah.
kinda, like, oh great, you're encoring with new crap, and then they just abruptly walked off stage,
Yeah.
and that was the end of the show.
I'd always like flirted like with a like I liked the band, like there was but it was just like
Is that our water right there?
sure.
Yeah.
I'll take one.
So it was just like one of those things though where it was like after like the second time I was like, okay, and then the third time like this is fucking ridiculous. This is just bad.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I remember having conversations with people at that last show. They're like, "Oh, really? I think this is great." And I'm like, "Shit, man, you might want to go see the ear specialist or something."
I think I've probably seen more bands that surprised me that I didn't think were going to be very good, that blew me away. The only band that was kind of a letdown was Def Leppard, and I think it was the first time they played here. And supposedly the singer said he had like laryngitis or something. I mean, he was just ditching out on a lot of stuff and couldn't hit a lot of stuff. But then again, I mean, out of that era, he probably was one of the least talented vocalists. He just has
Sure.
like he has a voice that's
Yeah.
interesting, people liked, but
Yeah.
so I can't say that it really was his own fault. Maybe his voice was lost, but
Sure.
I don't know. I've seen way more stuff that was just like blew me away.
Yeah.
Like when D. Snyder played Ribfest. I'm thinking, because like I like old Twisted Sister stuff, but I'm just like, I go to that and I'm like, it's just be another washed up old rock star. He gets out there, rips his shirt off. He's got like a freaking 12-pack.
D-Rule.
Just freaking shredded. So much freaking energy. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. And he actually was like, hey, what's with all those people in the back sitting down? Oh, your wheelchair's okay? Yeah, it was fucking awesome. It was so high energy. God, it was amazing.
Oh, D-Rule. I watched the Supreme Court thing the other day. I saw the video the other day, and I just watched it when he went and sat down and the whole Tipper Gore era, parental advisory and all that shit. Dee's speech is just great. He just shows up looking like the horse's
with the
ass.
shades on,
He
yeah.
always looked like, oh man.
He just put out another like brand new stuff that's like way more metal.
Yeah.
And it's just freaking awesome. I mean, he's got one of the most powerful metal voices
Yeah.
of anyone I can think of. I mean,
And a
he's
great
all-
radio voice too, like
Yeah,
perfect. Like
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I read that article about how he thinks Twisted Sister doesn't deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Yeah, I saw that
I think
too.
you
Yeah.
posted that. And
I didn't
or
post it,
commented
but
on
I
something.
commented on it about how D rules.
Yeah, he's right.
Fuck no, they don't. But
There probably was like some stuff that I don't even remember, and they weren't even notable bands. Like if I mention them, no one would even know who they
Skindred
were.
or something.
Yeah, Skindred.
Turn up the pressure.
So that we were drinking over at Scott's house on what was that, Friday night?
Okay, Friday.
And Sheldon's just like, I don't know why you even deal with this. He's just like, I think the worst thing ever would be to be trapped in a stuck elevator with that fucking Skindred song.
Because I had heard of it recently, and I was just like, that's so bad. Like, yeah.
Reggae new metal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I
trapped in an elevator with the crow on.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh,
You're like, oh fuck it, man, my dick's never gonna get hard again. I might as well just do it myself. This is great. There's waterboarding, and then there's the crow for fucking a week in a fucking elevator.
It's like waterboarding in your ear holes.
I remember saw the announcement like 2 weeks ago that Five Finger Death Punch is coming back to town with
Denny too, with
yeah.
Breaking Benjamin.
Sick.
And I saw it and I'm just like, oh, third time in a year?
What's going on there?
Give them what they want. Give them what they want.
That's
man.
another genre too that's just sad if you ever get like I had to work a Breaking Benjamin show, and I bet 3/4 of what you're hearing is just tracks.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
all fake.
Yeah.
Everything's just
When I used
But
to,
like the front stuff,
like
the
children.
front stuff is fake. Like not even just like
that's what matters.
no, it's
like
guitars. The
Yeah.
only thing that's like actually live is probably the drums, because it's kind of hard to like mime that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's pretty bad.
When I used to DJ at KCFS, we played, someone asked for Five Finger Death Punch, and so we played it, and then I interjected
Oh, yeah.
random screams
Oh, yeah.
in the mix.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy Bobby, we all just went, no! Screamed randomly in the mix, and then people, I could tell, like someone called in, and like, did you interrupt my song?
I don't know, we used to talk
Freaking
about how all
Hentges.
the new metal shit would
Away.
always, everything was away, or
Gotta get away!
yeah, or like, or you did this to me.
No. It's not to me, it's to me. It's like I with away.
But it's always so much like on the like, I'm never at fault. Like, how could I possibly be at fault?
Yeah, and all of this is all generated because your fucking dad didn't give you the allowance money you want.
Exactly. Or there was just no dad in the picture, you know. Or there's
Yeah.
just no, you know,
Yeah.
more than likely. It's like,
They cover Pink Floyd's Money and just change the lyrics to reflect that they didn't get an allowance that week. It's like,
yep.
money out!
Yep.
It's kind of like that radio rock new metal stuff. It reminds you of country music. There's like these catch lyrics that you gotta get in there.
Yep.
Yeah, Dirt Road, Cold Beer,
Yep.
Truck.
Daisy Dukes.
Daisy
High
Dukes.
School Sweetheart.
Yeah.
T-shirts.
Yep.
17.
Yep. Fucking A.
Will Ferrell was on SNL recently, and they did a skit. It was similar to like Jerry Lee Lewis kind of thing, and every song he was singing was about a 13 or 14-year-old.
Oh man, that's awesome.
And like the lyrics were not hiding it. She's only 14. And like,
That's like Kiss's Pristine
16.
16.
Yep.
so
Oh, yeah.
clean.
So clean.
there was a time period where like all these songs were about being 17, like
That's
Winger.
because they were
yeah.
fucking people that age.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's pretty simple. I mean, if you look at the history of groupies, most of the groupies were 14 to 16. They
Yeah.
weren't. And I mean, that's one thing I kept saying last year was, you know,
Gotta get more groupies.
well,
or-
when
I was like, Phil, stop scaring away my groupies.
I mean, if we held like everyone accountable for their behavior from 30, 40 years ago,
Oh my
holy
God,
shit,
yeah, I
fucking
know.
Led Zeppelin, holy shit! I mean, those dudes
Yeah.
are still alive, man.
Yeah.
And the fucking shit. I mean, I mean, it's pretty raw shit. You know?
Do you think if they get more exposed in the media, those bands from back then, do you think the backlash is going to be bad, or is it going to be like
No,
what you
because
expect?
I think that's what people just knew and expected
People
at the
just
time,
expected,
and that was
yeah.
just the attitude of the era. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, when the you know, roadies would walk around with shirts that say "No head, no backstage pass." I mean, that shit was happening in the '80s still. So
Yeah.
Def Leppard, I Swallow Semen.
Yeah.
Backstage pass.
I mean, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like that shit wouldn't fly now necessarily, but in some circles, I mean, people, you know,
It's probably quiet,
Hip-hop.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
what's that?
in hip hop.
Yeah, exactly, and that's one part.
Yeah.
I made that point the other day. Somebody was like giving me shit about listening to Wheeler Walker Jr. and I was like, well, I don't know, man. He talks about like licking people's like dudes' assholes and shit like that too. So it's pretty equal opportunity. What's the one? Which one of you queers gonna suck my dick? He goes into a gay bar and he's just like, really need some, you know. And somebody's giving me shit, and I'm like, well, then I better not ever hear you listen to fucking rap music. It's like that old thing, you know, like, how can you listen to this? It's so degrading to women. he ain't talking about me. It's the same shit, you know.
For sure. Next topic.
Next topic.
What was that topic?
Band that let you down live. Went off on a whole. That was the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are completely irrelevant.
It's
to
just
this
called the Dresch tangent.
the Dresch
It kind of already is the Dresch.
Yeah. There was one episode where the first 20 minutes, we hadn't even started a topic yet. Like, I don't even know how.
Shit.
Like, we were like, oh, we're saving topics.
must have been more interesting than us, then, I guess.
No, I love it. Come on. This one's up. Where did Cotton Eye Joe come from and where did he go? That's a joke question.
Okay.
That's. Sometimes I write questions down. I'm like, this is gonna be gold.
Yeah, so it's like 3 in the morning and your shit's all clever. And,
Yeah, it's rough. Best actor or actress that people hate? Nah, fail it.
Fail.
Fail. Nah.
Sure.
What can we do to make the Oscars more interesting?
Oh, fail.
Fail that one.
Fail.
I heard they're making like a mainstream movie award now. Side note, like apparently I don't know, it's like Marvel
Most
movie.
popular.
Yeah, most
Oh,
popular.
yeah, that makes sense. It's called MTV Music Movie Award.
People's Choice Award or the
Yeah.
What is a hobby that you do that most people don't know about? Pass.
I kind of want to pass it because I want to know what Phil's answer is.
In that case, I vote pass.
Okay, I'll talk about it. I don't know about you guys, but 2.
I don't have one that
What?
I don't think people don't know about.
Oh.
Cat grooming?
Yeah, I mean that's not a
Cat
hobby. It's just like
In that case, come over and cut my cat's nails, please. My God, I can't do it.
Well, yeah, then I don't really have anything. I don't really have anything that people don't know I do.
Well, you could talk to a degree about how the fact that you're turning your backyard into a mini golf course.
I am turning my backyard into a miniature
That's a
golf
thing.
course. I was
Yeah, talk
just
about that.
just working on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because your dogs, you
We
can't
two
have
Great
good
Danes,
turf.
They destroy our grass.
Yeah, so you said,
They
well,
just
let's do
dig holes everywhere.
astroturf.
Yeah, they can't destroy AstroTurf. And so
But
we're
if
just
you're
going
gonna
to
lay it
put
down, you gotta
9-hole golf course back there.
It's a sizable, it's a good sized backyard.
Yep. Yep. And then we got a bocce ball course.
Yeah.
We're going to
Horseshoes,
change the
maybe?
rules so that someone has to sit spread legged at the end of it. And we're going to call it crotchy ball.
Crotchy ball.
And when you hit their balls, they lose every time.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And then after dark, you play naked and afraid in the
shit.
furnace.
Yeah, we have a big fern patch. We're going to play naked and afraid out there.
You guys are more than welcome to come.
Be nice if we
Naked
get some
crotchy ball.
wives involved in this instead of just us.
Everything I do is pretty much out in the open. I write jokes, play music. That's pretty much the main 2 things that I do. I've always liked to look up new artists, but that's kind of a thing that just you do.
Mm-hmm.
I do play PS2 all the time though. Like not even new shit, just old like
PS2.
yeah. NHL 2004.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yep.
Yep. Simpsons Road Rage.
Phil, you gotta have something. There's gotta be some fucked up, creepy thing that you do. There has to be.
Yeah, Phil, you do a lot of shit. I mean,
I do a lot. I'm trying to like narrow it
cooking,
down.
coffee, nerding
Yeah.
out, fucking.
I geek
Phil is a geek about his fucking lawn. Like,
My lawn,
and it looks
coffee.
fucking dope. That's what,
Yeah.
like, it works.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
hobby.
yeah, so I put some Malorganite on it. Oh, it looks pretty good. Oh, you know Becca Hermstead? Yeah. Oh.
It's always Becca. I don't know why. I apparently am like the Kevin Bacon of Sioux Falls because I'm always,
he does. You do know
I'm always
everybody,
talking about someone you're like, who that is?
and then you always know a little bit of a backstory on them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like whenever Phil's telling a story, it's all the people that we would possibly know who would be involved in it. And then whenever John is telling a story, it's always like
John Parker, for the
what
record.
location, John Parker, Like, it's always all these directions, and it's right across from the old Walgreens.
like
You
he's
know, they
from
tore it down, it was a
California.
skating rink. Well, you know, it's just, there was like a street that was there in an intersection, and they got rid of it. Well, and Phil's over there, oh, did Becca live there?
Your dad used to do the stuff.
Oh man.
He was a welder in the 70s, really renowned.
And I think
Who the fuck wants to talk about ourselves? Like, all these questions are like gold. I mean, I don't really want to talk about fucking boring.
Should we move on from that one? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, was MTV Unplugged a good idea? How do you feel about acoustic versions of full band songs?
I think at the time it was great. I don't.
Okay.
Pass. Yeah,
Pass, talk about it.
I would agree with Phil. I mean, at the
Yeah.
time it was great. I think the bands of the day were.
I mean, you had like
music
the
would
heavy
decline,
grunge too.
You know?
Yeah.
I
Heavy
really
stuff
want to
and
hear
the-
Breaking Benjamin, Diary of Jane Unplugged.
I think it already exists.
Diarrhea Chain.
In a toilet.
Diarrhea.
Would
In a
you
bathroom.
like that? Would you like that?
Diarrhea Chain.
And then the rhythm guitarist goes,
Yeah.
I can't think of any like real modern bands that like, I think that I'd like. I'd be excited to see an unplugged set from them, But if in the day, it made sense because so many of the bands were,
there is a newer band, Beach Slang, that's like,
Sure.
I like them a lot. They just released an acoustic album that, like, they had incorporated cello and some string stuff, and that sounded really, like, the songs are so simple in approach anyways, that it was just, like, it
Yeah.
fit. Like, that's an exception. And I could see that being an MTV Unplugged, but they're not big enough to, obviously, do that, but if the songs are simple enough in approach that you could strip down and make it do it justice.
Did Radiohead do it in MTV Unplugged?
No.
I'm not sure if people
No,
would
they
love
did
to see that.
Songs from a basement. or
Yeah, I remember
whatever.
that.
Okay,
yeah.
like a studio thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or Muse. I
They,
probably watched
they
that.
basically just turned into that ramp, that drunk that gets in the cycle. That's how I see them. It's
I always
like
wanted
they,
Jack White to do an acoustic album.
Yeah.
I know they put out an album of like acoustic tracks of his,
But it was
but
just
they
a
were already
collection.
yeah, it was a collection. I just think it would be interesting to just see him like just him and the guitar and a slide or whatever, just to see what he could do. I think it'd be interesting. I don't know how good it would be.
My favorite thing he's done, though, is Raconteurs, though.
Me too.
I love Brendan Benson. I love his songwriting.
Yeah, the second Raconteurs record is like pretty flawless.
Yeah, that album's so good.
Yeah, but
Rich Kid Blues is so good.
they're like. The Elephant's a fucking masterpiece too, and
Yeah.
all the other White Stripes albums after that I think are really good too. That's just good music. It's pretty
Yeah.
timeless.
Yeah. I'd love to see Jack do like a full-fledged, like you said, album. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and I mean I like the whole thing that he's doing now and stuff, but I mean there's just something about him and Meg. I dug it.
He just gave me this look. I don't know.
I don't know. It was like,
I'd love to see Five Finger Unplugged
Oh, yeah.
from the PA.
yeah.
Just 20,000 people, and like you can just barely hear like the snare drum, just like that hollow pop. That's all you can hear, and just like a little cymbal wash.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
what,
like string scratching.
What do you think of that album?
They
Hell of
just-
a Light Show.
I think a lot of like
Is
metal
the
bands
singer
in
playing
general,
basketball?
like stoner metal bands whose like complete emphasis is like on how loud they can be.
Yeah.
I would love to see them play an acoustic set so that it's like, holy shit, yeah, I was right. All it is cymbal wash. It's like literally fucking cymbal wash.
Yeah.
Sweet.
You don't hear
Bow.
Queens of the Stone Age. You don't hear them stripped down a lot, but when they do, that sounds
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah. Oh totally.
like yeah. There's Long Slow Goodbye. Acoustic is a great version.
But I think that's the thing, is like MTV Unplugged in that early era of it.
that tribute to Bourdain was.
It kind of opened up.
Yeah.
More
Yeah,
people
well,
are
yeah.
a little bit more open to doing this and that.
Yeah.
Because when that happened, like the Nirvana formula is like huge, like loud, quiet, loud.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing was like blowing the fuck up. But I don't know. I think that period there when they started doing that, all of a sudden, yeah, you'd start hearing like acoustic cuts on some of these albums.
Yeah.
So.
Nowadays, it kind of it's like everything is backtracked to death now, so it's kind of it's hard to emphasize. That's why there's probably not enough unplugged things anymore because everyone just backtracks everything. So it's just like
Slayer Unplugged.
I would see that.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah, just like
Somebody named Lindy Weiss is saying hi to Thomas.
oh, Lindy.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, Lindy. And my friend comments on Slayer Unplugged.
Slayer. I'm glad.
Hey, Matt. But yeah,
Skid Row was a letdown.
Oh.
God, I hate Sebastian Bach, but I love him in interviews. Because he told the story once of how he ran into Phil Anselmo in the urinal.
Oh, shit.
And I walk up to the urinal, man, and I look down at Phil's dick. I'm like, holy shit!
Don't you think Sebastian Bach kind of sounds like Big Bird?
Yeah.
After that conversation, he got like this high kind of, and he kind of walks like Big Bird.
Dude, have you ever seen Kiss?
Yeah.
And then Phil apparently looked up from the urinal and goes, you should see my dad's.
I think I've heard that. Yeah.
That's classic. I
Dude,
love
how
that.
could you not own at least one Kiss record?
Oh, man, that's great.
Remember that show on VH1 of him, the Nuge, and
Super
Scott
Group?
Ian? Oh my
And the
god.
Biohazard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evan?
Oh my
yeah.
And they're trying to
God.
think of band name and like
Savage
yeah,
Animal.
and everybody's just like no.
Why don't we call the band Fist? Wyatt just commented Savage Animal.
yeah.
Fucking animal.
Yeah, and they were just all not having it. And he was like, "Come on, guys!"
Dudes!
Like it's a little bit too cheesy.
Yeah.
Oh,
How
God.
could you not like Savage Animal?
Oh, shit.
Alright, next question.
Ugh.
If you could watch only one movie for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? If you had to. Pass on that one? Or fail?
Fail.
Fail?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say the Notebook.
Majority vote? No explanation needed. Next question.
I'm not gonna talk about it. I'll just tell you what it is.
This one. What's the greatest episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Metaluna.
Never seen that one.
Okay.
Should we talk about that or fail that one?
Fail, I mean, that's
All right.
so specific.
I have no
I don't know if
context.
it's Santa versus the Martians.
Right. That's a good one. It's nerdy. Any movies where you feel the soundtrack enhanced the movie? In particular. Pass?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
I'll pass it, and I'll just say any movie that John Williams
Yes.
did the score to is
Sure.
Hans Zimmer. Anything?
That's just like
yeah.
boom, that made the movie.
Any John Hughes film?
Sure.
It's kind of a silly question. But
Well, that would include Home Alone, right?
yeah.
And that Home Alone was scored by John Williams, right?
Really? Oh, then. No. I think so.
I think
Maybe,
it
yeah.
was.
Possible.
And that's why it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm drawing a blank right now. Let's move on from that one.
Feel free to jerk him out whenever.
Best album this year that you've heard so far from that came out this year. Or otherwise. We could say otherwise too if you don't have one from this year.
I don't really, I mean,
I definitely know what mine is so far. So,
Pass?
I'll pass it.
Yep.
I'll talk it.
I'm a music fucking geek though, so I'm always
Same, yeah.
taking this shit in. I like the new Casey Musgraves album. I
I
fucking
knew you
bought
I've
it.
heard it's amazing. I haven't
fucking love
heard it yet. But
I can't stop listening to it. It's totally something different than like last year I was listening to like dudes in their 20s writing country shit, you know, and this year it's like a pop, I mean, it's a fucking pop record, really.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. It's really well orchestrated. The band kicks ass. The songs are fucking great.
Mhm.
Makes me feel good.
Yeah.
You know,
I love the new Anderson East album.
that's good. Yep. Saw him last week. It was good.
Oh, how was that at Minneapolis?
No, I went to a festival last week in Iowa and saw a bunch of good
okay.
shit. So.
Nice. Awesome.
But yeah, I'm going to see her, Casey Musgraves, and yeah, my girlfriend bought me tickets to see my crush in February. It's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
I mean, she's married, so she's kind of off the table. So no worries. Guy can dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one a lot though. But there's been a lot of, like all years, I usually end up with like at least 20 records that left some kind of impression. This year's a little slower so far, but admittedly, like if I really like an artist, I can't like just casually listen to a new album. I have to like. There's a lot of stuff that came out at the beginning of the summer by bands that I love, and I still haven't listened to it because I haven't gone on a walk or done something where I can just like
Zone in.
I want that first listen or two to be like very attentive.
Yeah.
So it's just got to be me. I can't have anybody around and stuff. I'm a words fucker, so like I like words. So
Yeah.
I want to hear all that. So, but yeah, my front runner early, Casey, Spacey Casey.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think what else that's been out that I really liked?
I gave that album a listen, the Musgraves one, because I kept hearing about it. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't really listen to a lot of country music, but I'll check it out. But it's, at first I was kind of like, I don't know, because it still has like, you know, those country lyrics and stuff, but there is that pop element. But it's such a weird fusion where like, but I wanted to keep listening because I had never really heard anything like that before.
It's like I mean, there's like Fleetwood Mac type elements going on in it, and I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff. But her voice is just like, and the thing is, like, she's a part of like writing these songs too. I mean, so like,
And she plays guitar and
she
stuff.
plays guitar, and, like, and she's capable of like performing solo. I've seen a few of those performances lately. So yeah, in an industry where, you know,
She's kind of like a female Chris Stapleton in that
A little
she was
bit.
like writing stuff
Yeah.
before, and this is kind of her angle in.
right.
I remember the I don't even remember the name of that song that she first came out with a few years ago, and I'm like, oh, this is just
Blowing Smoke.
yeah, it was
I think
just,
it was her first single, Blowing Smoke.
but it was a very vanilla
Yeah. But
radio
that's,
country shit.
yeah, like I like her last album, which is very much more country leaning. But yeah, yeah, this one like felt like a big like kind of I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do. So and she's a stoner, so I can relate with that, you know.
Surprisingly good metal album, Judas Priest, Firepower.
That's what I've heard. I haven't heard it, but I've heard it's really surprising.
Really good, and his voice sounds as good as ever
Yeah.
on it, which is crazy with that just melting heat in his
Yeah.
vocals that he still has that much power in it. So
Yeah. I liked the new Ghost album. Like I like
yeah.
it's very immediate, very catchy, but yeah. Someone posted a meme today of what they advertised the band, and it's like this dark house. What it really looks like is a dollhouse, or what it really sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't consume music through albums enough anymore.
Yeah.
Like usually my musical listening experience lately is just like I listen to freaking 40 hours of power metal at work with my earbuds. And whatever comes up on Pandora, you know, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I've even kind of fallen, and I used to love like getting an album because I'm like Thomas. I like reading the lyrics and stuff.
Sure,
So I think
yeah.
that's totally underwritten as how important that is to a song and the album
Yeah.
is the lyrics. So I'll just listen through stuff, and if I really like it, I'll go find the lyrics and
Yeah.
get further into it, and then, you know, pull out YouTube and be like, okay, I like that song, let's listen to the whole album or something like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. I lean more towards indie rock myself, and so this year there's been a lot of female-fronted indie rock bands which have been releasing really good albums. Like Soccer Mommy is another. Like Dan has been showing me a ton.
What are they called?
Soccer Mommy.
Okay.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
good.
She's really good.
Yep.
Kind of is like sounds like Pedro the Lion-ish kind of stuff. Like
Definitely a bit of a return to the '90s too. I think.
yeah, for sure.
You know. But yeah, I mean, the new J. Cole record's really good. Like
Oh, yeah.
as far as like rap goes, there's a record by two songwriters that they just decided to call themselves Mary Lepanto as a group. Mary / Lepanto. Will Johnson is one of the guys. I can't think of the other guy's name. JPK is his initials, but they played here in town a while back and at the White Wall studio. They did it wasn't a White Wall thing. They just played there as a private show, and that was incredible. But that's another one of those like really sparse kind of records where you don't. I mean, you put it on when you're driving by yourself or you're home by your, home alone. You don't just like,
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm gonna drink some beers with some friends. Let's bum everybody the fuck out.
Throw on Jeff Buckley or something.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't do that?
Yeah, nobody wants to go to Thomas's house. He's just gonna play fucking Towns Van Zandt and makes you want to kill yourself. Oh man.
Yeah. Next topic.
Next topic.
What factors go into what you wear on stage personally when you perform?
Comfortable shoes. Getting old.
Says the guy with the flip flops.
Wish Slap.
Talk about that?
I wish Slap was here.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
I used to wear a suit when I drummed, and then I'm like, this is way too hot.
Did the
Fashion
buttons
over
of the stick
function,
get
baby.
caught up?
Yeah, that
that's the
happened.
worst. I can't wear a long sleeve.
Yeah, I can't do it. Yeah, there was one show where I decided to wear a suit and get all dressed up, and then after each song, I just removed another item of clothing after every song. I'm like, this is too much, and why there are no fans or water next to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like,
You're an animal too on the drum set. I was shocked because I think maybe the first time I saw your band was when you opened for Closet Monster.
is that the
This-
district?
Yeah, at the district. You're a
Yeah.
slugger, man.
Thanks.
Slugger.
I like that.
That's my exercise for the year. That's all I need.
Yeah. I think each show, I mean, like, there's some shows where, like, if we're going to play at the Orpheum, for example, it's like, you probably put a little bit more thought into what the fuck you're wearing on
Right.
stage.
Yeah.
And you would expect that out of the people that you were playing with. But, I mean, if we're playing, a Total Drag or something like that, it's just like, fucking come as you are,
Wife
Yeah.
beaters.
But
Yeah.
I think Jazz Fest was it last year? Was it last year Jazz Fest where I had like a fucking dress code? Like one night was this and the other night was that.
Yeah.
And it's like I rarely would I do something like that, but it was my way of like, I mean, you tell Slap something, he's gonna fucking do whatever the fuck he wants. It's his interpretation of whatever the fuck his goofy ass.
He's got his little shorts with the cum stain on them.
Yeah. I think we were like on the second stage. It was like yacht rock and like everybody else kind of bit onto it, and Slap showed up and put his fucking Iowa like hoodie on, Good stuff.
I have a handful of Metallica shirts. That's what I.
Yeah.
It's just like what I normally wear. That's what I'm gonna go on stage with. So.
Yep. I mean, there was definitely like if I'm going to see a band, like again, I mean, it all depends on genre and show and venue, I mean, if I go to Total Drag and it's a bunch of kids with fucking shirts on and Chuck Taylors, like fine, that works. I mean,
Yeah.
but I don't want to go pay fucking $50 to go to the Orpheum and watch those same kids play with their fucking back to me all night in the
Right.
same outfit,
Yeah.
It just doesn't interest me,
Yeah.
Give it, I mean, in the day of an age that we live in now where, like, you can watch a concert from home, you can watch YouTube, you have to give people some fucking reason to come,
Yeah.
and as stupid as wardrobe is, I find it, it's just like one of those little things that might be, but I mean, that's so funny. I mean, I was just talking to somebody the other day who was talking to me about, like, they kept talking about this concert, how great it was, but they never once mentioned the fucking music. It was always, the fucking light show and this and that. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, it like gets me a little hot under the collar. It's like the same thing. Like, I mean, it's one thing if a guy has to come in and set up a whole production stage, lighting, sound, but if a guy comes into a sound guy walks into a gig and he's walking out, for example, like where the sound is already there and he just pretty much fires everything up. When the sound guy's walking out with like way more than the band's leaving, that shit pisses me off too, because I'm like, shit, man, I didn't see on the flyer there, the headlining fucking sound guy, like, oh man, I wasn't gonna go to that show because the lineup's kind of weak, but then I saw fucking Jack Dick is doing sound. That guy could fucking run a board, man. Very different,
For stand-up, it's also a different thing too. Certain open mics, I'll wear a shirt and jeans. I don't care. We actually have a weird unspoken rule during stand-up that if you wear shorts on stage, it's like a don't go on stage. Wear pants. Like I'll have comedian friends, literally come to the venue with shorts on, change in the bathroom, and then get ready for the show. Like it's like I can't wear shorts on stage. It's just a superstition. I just cannot wear shorts on stage. And it's weird. I get it because apparently it's just like if they watch you and you're telling jokes in shorts, they like lose all respect for you. I don't know. But for me, I tend to, when I do stand up, I usually will wear like a nicer, like a plaid shirt and jeans. And open mics is just a regular band shirt, like whatever.
Yep.
And then certain shows, I'll wear a suit for a stand-up because at least it's not too hot. It's like you're on stage for 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Go figure. Like comedy burlesque show, which I've done a couple of those. It's like you wear the suit, to dress up, and then all that kind of thing. No, it's true. But they wouldn't want me to. I'm the cold shower that they need.
Cold shower.
But yeah. Just if you ever do stand up, don't wear shorts on stage.
You should do stand up.
Yeah, you should. We've been talking about it.
I'm afraid though it might get a little inappropriate from time to time.
Might.
Yeah, that's right. You'll straddle the line. I mean, for sure. Oh man.
What do you guys do? Do you have anything that you go into thinking about when dressing on stage?
Phil could give a fuck.
I could.
I want to wear a T-shirt that I like. I guess.
Yeah.
Usually black.
Has fucking perfect hairline.
Yeah.
He
Sheldon
fucking
always
shaves,
looks
be
good on
handsome,
stage.
you
Yeah,
know.
look
I
at
don't,
him.
I don't do anything.
Dick.
Like weird like that.
Phil always has to make sure his shoe camera's working for him.
That makes about.
Is it recording?
There we go. I swear to God, it was like to capture my kick drum. We're doing a special video.
We're doing a tutorial.
I think I saw Phil getting his ass beat on a clip the other day in the store. Fucking guy. Oh man. Wasn't that some guy with a cell phone or some shit? Like,
No, he had a shoe
that?
camera.
Oh, yeah,
He had
it
a
was
shoe
at the
camera
height that I worked at.
in his shoe.
oh, fuck
Wasn't he
me.
a
It was at
t-shirt?
our.
Oh, that was the. Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
he'd
yeah.
stick his foot out under skirts.
Yeah, wow.
That doesn't look like something obviously is going on.
Yeah.
You
It's like,
dumbass.
What a fucking idiot, too, man. Like, go home, watch some fucking porn that's free on your fucking TV. I can tell you where to find it, or on your computer if you need it. Jesus Christ. Like, oh, I wonder what color her panties are. Cool.
I bet he was really. Like I must have been really
Oh
disappointed.
shit, she's got bloomers on.
Yeah, imagine that. She's fucking wearing a skirt and she's got a fucking pair of underwear on. I mean, it's crazy, you know?
He gets mad when he goes to the grocery store now. He's like, everybody's wearing leggings. Where's the skirts at?
I remember back in my day,
I just saw
girls
this guy.
used to wear skirts.
I just saw this guy walk in and out and go, "Damn it!" And then I'm like,
Surveys the area. I just figured he was unhappy because we were out of lemons.
yeah, usually have cookie cake in the front of the store, and it's gone. He's
Where's the free pizza samples? This is bullshit. I'm not eating today.
Why does this guy look like he's probing for landmines?
Yeah.
No, jeez.
Next topic. This one's folded. How do you feel about censorship in music and movies? It fucking sucks.
Yeah, fuck that.
Irony. You see what he did there?
He's pissed.
Oh, fail.
Fail that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
There's no tightwads here.
Yeah. Is Deadpool 2 really a family movie, and why?
I've never seen
Never
it.
seen
Fail.
it.
Yeah.
I did like the first one.
I didn't see either one, so I'm out of the loop. Yeah.
How'd you write the question then?
Suggestion, probably.
So, yeah, Facebook
Oh,
comment
gotcha,
thing.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I should really look over them all, or at least not write them down.
See if we can get a live question.
Post
Our
some.
one viewer right now.
Yeah, you got the one viewer, man. You're asking for a lot.
Mom?
I think this question is from Dan Nissen. How and why are you the way that you are? Fail it.
Sounds like therapy session. About that, you know? Oh, shit.
Is Christopher Walken still pushing for more cowbell and other forgotten yet important musical instruments?
Fail, Jesus.
Fail.
Yes.
Leave that one for the comedians, man. What's up? What's up, guys?
Oh, I like this one.
What's up, Robbie?
Hey, Robbie. He watches every episode.
Hello, Robbie.
Thanks for supporting. How do you like your concerts to be set list wise? Structured, spontaneous and loose, or more hits? Mixture.
Or
Pass.
more what?
More hits.
Yeah,
Spontaneous and loose. Structured.
They're all hits.
Pass?
Pass. Yeah,
I'll talk about it.
that, yeah.
Like our concert?
Or any
Or,
band that you see.
Like if you go to a show.
Oh,
Especially
okay.
if it's like your favorite or something.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
I kind of like a mixture. Like, I think it's more fun to have like the mixture of hits, but also deep cuts, and then kind of in between.
Do you want to hear hits later or in the middle?
I kind of like in the middle.
You gotta hit them with a deep cut right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, what the fuck's going on? Weird excitement in the air because they're like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I like spontaneity, you know.
Yeah, like when I see Five Finger, they better start with the bleeding.
And they better close with the bleeding. Yeah. I want to hear it twice.
Yeah.
Well, it's just funny. Who the fuck has enough hits to be worried about making sure they play them all these days? I mean, modern bands, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I go see a classic band, you know, and they have 5 hits, well, sure, I want to hear all 5 of those hits at some point in the night, but I don't give a fuck when it is.
Yeah.
You know, I prefer not have to wait till the end of it, but I don't really give a shit. You know? I mean, as far as like if it was me playing something, like when I play solo, I don't put together a set list. I just go.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're playing with other people, it's good to it's kind of good to have some starting points.
Right.
But I love to be able to just be like, say the name of a song and fucking have Phil count it out and go into it. But that would require people to know the names of the fucking songs, you know, that play music with you.
Yeah. When it comes to comedy, I like to have the jokes that no one laughs at. It's my favorite for
Yep.
5 minutes.
It's
It's just really
the
great.
beginning.
Just,
or
yeah, just,
Oh, the whole way through.
just the whole way through.
I want bombs.
You're testing their commitment.
Boy, that one was a real turd.
I did do a set once where I didn't have any material written, so I'm like, I'm just gonna do this set, but what if I had hemorrhoids? And so I said, so what do you get when you, ow, what do you get when, it was elaborate, this avant-garde thing where I just sat on the stool acting like I was in pain, asking people for ointment.
And then at the end, everyone was.
It actually went better than I expected, but whatever.
You should do a whole set leaning and see if someone gives you a V8.
Yeah.
Deep cuts are cool though, especially with like classic artists, you know. Like, when I saw Neil Young, he played a bunch of deep cuts, but he also played a lot of the popular stuff. But it was just really funny to watch. Like that was one of the weirdest concerts I've ever been to because I was in general admission and I got there super early. I went by myself, drove down to Omaha so that nobody else could fuck it up for me. I didn't want anybody bitching, I didn't want any complaining. I wasn't drinking because I didn't want to lose my spot to go pee. I remember yelling at everyone around me a couple times during the show that, you know, why the fuck am I the youngest person anywhere close to this stage right now, and I'm the old person acting the most mature. It was unbelievable. Like it was one of those things where everybody was trying to relive their youth. You know.
Yeah.
My favorite though was the jackass who wouldn't shut the fuck up the whole show, and he had the worst tattoo, you know, like on each arm, and it was like his most memorable concerts, you know. So it was like yes, and like fish, and like, all this like shit, and then he had the Beatles, you know, logo. And I was like, oh shit, man! I bet that was a dope show, man. And you know, because I knew damn well he wasn't alive. You know, I mean, he was probably like 2 years old the last time the Beatles played. And he's like, well, you know, some things are just sacred. You know? Well, you said they were all know, God, fucking losers. But yeah, they all shut the fuck up as soon as those deep cuts would come. They just piss break. You know.
God.
Yep.
I like bands that mix it up, like they'll play a hit and then 2 deep cuts, hit, deep cut.
Yeah, that's
that
totally.
balance. I like
Yep.
that balance a lot. So it's like you're not losing the audience's interest, so they're not getting up and leaving all the time,
Yep.
and just that perfect balance.
Yeah, most of the bands that I like or would pay to go see, I mean, I want to hear
It's hit.
anything and everything. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah. So when I saw when Foo Fighters came to town last year, like the first 5 songs were like they're pretty much a singles band at this point. It's constant
Pretty
single,
close,
single.
yeah.
But opening with Everlong and Monkey Wrench right off the bat, I'm like, shit. Like,
Tarantino in it.
yeah.
Pulling no punches there.
Then when I saw them in Council Bluffs, Motorhead was supposed to open. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
Lemmy got stuck in Texas, so Dave Grohl says we're going to play an extra hour to make up for
Oh, was
lost
there?
I
time.
remember
Yeah, that was an
that.
awesome
Yep.
I
show.
remember hearing about
They
that.
played like 3.5 hours, something like
Yeah.
that. 30,
When it finally
5
came
songs.
time to play Everlong at the end, Taylor was just like,
Yeah.
I saw, yeah, well, when I saw Springsteen, he played almost 4 hours, and I had a, what do you call that shit, dry socket, and I didn't have any pills, because the, oh my god, the dentist had given me my prescription before the fucking...
you didn't have any other pills?
No,
Yeah, why don't
no,
you ask your
no,
neighbors?
he gave me the
Oh, okay.
prescription before the fucking surgery, so I figured, oh, so he's just gonna give me more after the surgery. I thought it was like some preparation type shit.
Preparation.
AKA, I just fucking
put that in your
abused the pills. So then I found myself without them when I needed them most. And it's the whole side of my head is fucking throbbing. I'm standing, you know, the whole time. Fuck, man, I was ready for another 3 hours. I mean, keep going, man. There's a lot of songs I hadn't heard yet, you know.
Yeah.
And he'll play a fucking song for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's like he'll play a 2.5 minute song. He'll stretch it to 8 minutes sometimes. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also have never been in a concert like that where it felt like that before, where there was that much energy ever. Like McCartney here at this, the Denny was cool, but like seeing Springsteen up in St. Paul, nobody, like even the people in the seats, did not sit the whole show,
Mhm.
and everybody's singing along. There's all these like big parts where it was like I was like, okay, this is probably what church should be like, you know, like
Yeah.
realistically. You
Is
know?
that when he played River front to back?
Mhm.
That would be an awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he started off playing the River front to back, which is vocally probably the most challenging record. And I'm watching this dude who's older than my dad up there doing shit that I couldn't do. It was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I've seen Green Day a couple times and they stretch 2-minute songs out for 10 minutes. And it's just
Yeah.
like, you could have easily played 40 songs
So-
in about 2 hours. Yeah,
yep.
they
Probably time
stretch.
for one more topic and then
Yeah,
shameless
we'll
plugs.
do one more topic and then do our shameless plugs and then call it a show.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
When do we eat?
I like that.
Best opening band you've ever seen? Pass on that one? Talk about that one? Like they were specifically in the opening lineup slot.
Problem is, you're talking to guys that have been to so many freaking concerts.
Yeah.
It's just like all these questions were just like, where do I go with this?
Yeah.
Um,
Pass on this one?
Let's fail that one.
Fail that one?
Let's fail
yeah,
that
we can
one.
do
It's
better.
a pretty
than
big
that.
one. All right.
Yeah, I mean-
Get another parm pack, bro.
Crush red in there.
This one we
Yeah.
kind of touched on. I'm gonna probably fail this one. What are some things you do to kill time?
Fail.
Fail that one. I didn't have confidence in that.
We couldn't talk about it. It'd be way too illegal.
Yeah. If you could hang out with one famous person, who would it be and why? Seems kind of like a Tiger Beat question.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. If you could hang out with one person, who's the cutest boy on death row?
Yeah.
All the girls want to know. Greatest drummers of all time.
Pass. We got
Pass.
2 fucking drummers in here.
3?
3
I
fucking
think.
drummers in
Yeah.
here. Now that I think about it, yeah.
I'll talk about
Well,
it.
we're all here, so we might as well talk about ourselves.
Yep. You're looking at him.
You're rubbing
Top
elbows
shit.
with them.
I'm top shit.
Jimmy Chamberlain, Smashing Pumpkins, for me personally. I love how he incorporated jazz into rock, that kind of all over the place kind of.
I'm a big Levon Helm fan from the band.
Oh, yeah.
Get it done,
Yeah.
make it funky. You know, stay the fuck out of the way, and he also could sing like a motherfucker.
This is going to be
Lars
a weird
Ulrich.
one, but Buddy Rich.
Oh, okay. You can see it.
I just think that's freaking awesome. It was just like, it was like the first drummer who was famous for being a drummer.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who did
And
he
he had
used
that
to have
one-handed drum
like
roll.
big competitions with back? Max. Like,
Gene Cooper.
Gene Cooper. That's right.
An animal.
Yeah.
Did a solo of Animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, if I'm being honest, Animal's my favorite.
He's pretty badass.
Mitch Mitchell from Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, he's
Pretty
good.
solid.
Yeah, I like that lineup with Mitch Mitchell and then Billy Cox on bass.
Yeah.
And they were a trio, like that kind of final lineup
Yeah.
that he had. That was really good.
You know it's Lars Ulrich. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Fucking Lars, huh? Really?
I don't really have an opinion on that, just because I'm.
I told Dad today that you guys would be on. He goes, ask Brian about Lars Ulrich.
Yeah.
Metallica would probably sound stupid with a different drummer.
He's
Yeah.
the Ringo
Sorry,
of metal.
he just
That's true.
writes what needs to be done.
Yeah.
It's as funny as it sounds. He's the Ringo of metal. He just does what he needs to do.
And he's actually an integral part of Metallica as far as sound or song arrangement too.
Yeah.
You know, so
As I am the opposite in marching arms.
Yeah, generally, just in general, like you know, less busy. You know,
Yeah.
drummers like somebody who's like, you know, you get in a band with somebody who's so worried about like, got their head so far up their own ass. It's like, dude, it's a fucking drum. It makes a fucking thud. It's a percussion instrument. Like,
Yeah.
people like, yeah, I mean, I know some cool little drum fills that like I'm excited to hear when they come, but it's not like the melody of a song. You know, it doesn't
yeah,
sell it.
there's a lot of guys that can't gel with the rest of
Yeah.
the band, and it just sounds stupid.
Well, and you can tell when somebody's just sitting there listening to them fucking self all the fucking
Yeah.
time. It's just, you know, it's no good.
One of my favorite bands I just saw last week is Alkaline Trio. I'm a big punk rock kind of fan, and they had a fill-in drummer because the drummer that they normally have is taking the tour off because he had mental health issues and bipolar disorder and this whole thing. And it sucked because he's like one of my favorite drummers because he does service to the song. He is fluid but machine-like, but he also like is very subtle but plays strong. And the fill-in guy just was kind of messing up all the songs or played them in a way that I'm like, I wouldn't do that. Like, oh, you just fucked up the song. Like, it's just being personally like, oh, you didn't do that fill right. like you didn't do that part right, or so I was just like bummed out about that. Just like, damn it.
And you were like stomping, like,
Yeah. Like, give me the sticks. Like, so it's just one of those things like,
what's this guy doing? He's gonna ruin his shoe camera.
Phil, did we hear who your drummer
No.
is?
I would have to say it's between two probably that I really respect. It would be Josh Freese
oh,
and
yeah.
Matt Chamberlain. They're
Oh, nice.
two different schools, and they both know how to like especially Matt Chamberlain can do like the craziest shit, but like sit in the mix and like hide, and you don't really notice it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fiona Apple's albums are so great.
Yeah.
Matt Cameron, when I saw Soundgarden 4
Yes.
years ago,
He's awesome.
God, he's a beast. Like, when they played Jesus Christ Pose, he was just like a
Yeah.
machine. I was just sitting there like, oh, man. Yeah, Matt Cameron.
Well, let's go.
Yeah, Phil heard butt plug, so he's getting excited.
Butt plug played for Misfits.
We get done with that last question, we can start getting our butt
You can do the
plug.
butt plugs, right?
Shameless,
Down in there somewhere.
shameless butt plugs.
Exactly.
Well, this one,
There's that thing.
if you could have,
Look at this one. This one is shameless.
If you could have one butt plug, and one.
Black leathers, trotted.
It's like picking a fishing, like a lure. What do you think's gonna
What are they
throw?
biting on today? What are they biting
Yeah. Yep.
So shameless plugs. Butt plugs.
Yeah.
What do you, Phil? Do you have a shameless plug you'd like to share?
Nope.
Alright?
Shameless plug. I can't even see. I want to say Mueller. Mueller Pallets.
Oh, there you go.
LLC.
It is.
That's not really shameless though, because that's like doing a favor for someone else. Like this should be all about you, right?
It is.
No,
all
that's
Bill's way of
my
life,
plug.
man.
He
Oh,
was
okay.
saying that.
That's
Oh, that's the
plug.
one you should say.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
Yeah. Yep.
But he has to say it now.
Yeah. Say it, motherfucker.
Smaller pallet.
There we go.
If you have tree branches down, let me know. Well, we have a pile. I'll grind them up. You need some pallets, put your shit on. You got that hookup too.
Oh yeah.
If you need some food analogies, let me.
You need a sweet titty calendar for your truck?
Yeah. So that's one for you guys.
Let me tell you, man. Like Miss August, butterface. Not good. Not good at all. They mostly are, but I mean, this is like severe. Severe.
Severe butt plug face.
Sheldon?
Just what, March and Arm shows?
Yes.
27th, Biggs, for opening for Power Glove. So if you would like video games and you want to see them performed in a heavy metal style,
Oh, nice.
that's the show that you want to go to.
Yeah.
For sure, which is a Monday. And then October 9th, also Biggs, opening up for a band, Canadian power metal band called Unleash the Archers, which is really cool.
Cool.
Really cool band.
Was one of you the O'Gorman Knights mascot or some shit?
No,
This motherfucker.
There's a rumor that this is the O'Gorman Knight that was stolen in the late '90s from the lobby of O'Gorman High School.
Oh, okay.
and
Rumors
it's not,
out.
we've proven it, right? It's not.
He doesn't
Big
smell like
mistake,
yeah.
smell like coffee and incense, so I'm not convinced it's real.
Smells like Lent.
Yeah, it doesn't smell like lunch whatsoever.
It smells like Advent candles.
Yeah.
Pink one. Right?
Anything to add to that? Yeah.
Same as
What should I do?
Sheldon.
The band?
Any
What
other?
am I? Well, you took the two things that are coming up.
Well,
We're
there's three
recording an
this year.
album in November,
Oh, cool. There you
so that's pretty cool.
go. Yeah.
Better finish writing a couple more songs.
Yeah,
but-
we need songwriters.
Sweet.
Actually, I think we're pretty close. We're at 9 right
I think Thomas is gonna do a guest vocal.
now. Okay.
Fuck yeah. You guys better get 500 fucking kids there for me to do it, otherwise there's no way I can fucking do it, man. That's the only way I could get the muster up. It still sound like a strangled cat. Hey man, whatever. Brought up Wolf King. We were playing Jam Against Hunger on Sunday the
26th?
26th.
I think that's 26th, yeah.
That sounds
20
right.
something.
Yeah, the 26th sounds right. Yeah, it is. It is.
Yep, it
Sunday
is.
the 26th. And we'll be in Mitchell at the Back 40 on September 1st, and then we'll be back in Sioux Falls September 6th, which is a Thursday, at Icon with.
Do you have to think of what you're doing Monday on your phone?
I don't have it on my phone.
This is me live at a
I gotta
concert.
find it, so
a couple
keep
weeks
going.
ago.
Yeah.
Go on.
So we're playing with Small Houses and Michaela Elizabeth that
Nice.
night. So, yeah, a few full band shows in the area, and then we'll likely go the fuck away for a while. So, the winter and depression will come, and I'll decide to write a Sad Bastard record, and hopefully we'll put it out by next summer.
There you go.
Hopefully. But
Well, thank you guys so much for being on here. It means a lot.
At Biggs, I know it's a Monday.
That's what he said live.
I
One more
don't
time.
blame him.
August 27th at Biggs, I know it's a Monday.
That's great.
I can't beat that. On that.
Put on your big boy pants. I know it's a Monday, but I swear to God, if you all show up, we'll fucking... We will sacrifice a live goat.
Fucking ruin your Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh man, that's how you gotta really do it. You gotta fill in. You gotta do fucking Phil from like Parentier. Like, fucking calling to work sick on Monday night, brother. I'm gonna fuck your shit up, man. This next song is about when I took 20 hits of acid and watched my parents fuck. That guy is so twisted. Yes.
Did you ever see his apology video after he said
Oh,
like white
so
power?
bad. It was so bad.
I'm 1,000% apologetic.
I know I get a bad rap and I know what I've done. It's like, dude, now you're racist. It's pretty obvious.
There was, on the That Metal show on VH1 Classic, he was on once and this woman from the audience asked him a question. She goes, hi, my name is Linda, and he goes, hello, Linda.
Got you heroin.
There's a YouTube video he did talking about Dimebag.
Yeah.
And then somebody in the comments, if you put the speed up to like 1.5, he actually sounds like a normal person. So if you do it, and then you're like, oh, that's Phil.
No, I highly recommend watching the Super Joint Ritual like DVD, the live one. I mean, between songs, gold. Gold. Like, the songs themselves suck. I mean, it's alright, but
Yeah.
like, that shit is
They got
fun.
Hang 3, that's cool.
Yeah, this shit is hilarious, man. Oh my god. Well, this next part's the heaviest part in the world. This next one's pretty badass as well. Heaviest part in the world.
You should see my
Badass
dad's.
as well.
You should see my dad's.
And on that note,
On the note of Phil Anselmo's penis, I want to thank you guys for being...
make sure you tag on this.
Hashtag Phil Anselmo's
This thing's gonna go viral quick.
So Thomas, Ryan, Sheldon, Phil, thank you guys for being on the show. And as always, you've been listening to the
Dresch
Anselmo's penis.
Penis.